Hello, you loyal tricky trees. Gather round, because today is not just another news day. Today is a reckoning. The city ground is a pressure cooker, the flames are high, and what's boiling is the future of our massive club. We're standing on the edge of a great leap, or maybe a massive fall. The international break is supposed to be a breather, a moment of peace, but for us, it's a hurricane of speculation, a transfer tornado that threatens to rip out the very foundation of the team we love. I'm talking about the rumors that just won't die, the whispers that are now screaming headlines across the whole of English football. And they all lead back to one question: who stays and who goes? The manager, the players, the very soul of Forest hangs in the balance, and you, the most passionate fans in the land, deserve to know the raw truth. The absolute latest, the drama that will define the rest of our season. We've got a midfielder, a young talent, the kind of player we pin our long-term hopes on, the kind of player that should be untouchable, a brick in the wall of our future. But hold on, the vultures are circling and they're not from far away. A massive Premier League giant, an old rival, is reportedly sizing him up, putting the price on his head, a move that would send a shockwave of despair through the Trentside faithful. Could we really lose him? Is the future of our engine room up for sale already? You need to hear the details of this specific chilling rumor, and the fear it's generating among the fan base. But the anxiety doesn't stop there, does it? The transfer gossip train is running hot. We have another star, a truly unbelievable talent, the kind of player that West Ham, yes, that West Ham, and their recently appointed manager, a familiar face to our club, are absolutely desperate to poach. It's a calculated move, a surgical strike from a rival, aiming to exploit the current turbulence at the city ground. Are we vulnerable to a raid from a manager who knows our strengths, our weaknesses, and our players inside out? And here's the kicker. There's a second major rival, a sleeping giant in the championship, also monitoring this exact same situation, ready to pounce if the deal goes sour for the Hammers. We are truly caught in a tug of war for our most prized assets, and the club's resolve is about to be tested like never before. It is absolutely mental. And what about the man in the dugout? The pressure on our boss has reached a deafening level. Every pundit, every column, every talk show is dissecting his every move, his every word. And now, a genuine legend of the game, a man whose word carries the weight of a million-ton hammer, has weighed in on the sack debate. He claims he already knows whether the manager should be relieved of his duties. That's not a rumor, that's a direct declaration from the heart of the media storm. What does this mean for the stability we so desperately need? Will the weight of this public scrutiny prove too much to bear? Finally, after all the chaos, the noise, the speculation, the club has reportedly made its call. The hierarchy, the people who hold the strings, have had their meeting, they've assessed the damage, they've looked at the table, they've seen the fan chants, and they have reportedly made a final immediate decision on the manager's future right before the biggest test of the season. Will it be the peace we crave, or the violent upheaval that many fear? The answer is here, but you'll have to stick around to the very end to get the context behind this monumental choice. Look, this channel is your home, the place where we keep the flame of the forest alive. I want to hear your passion. Hit that like button if you bleed Garibaldi red, and drop a comment now telling me which player you absolutely cannot afford to lose this January before we dive into this. Because the first revelation, the first piece of drama, is about a young player. A kid who embodies our fighting spirit, and the massive Premier League club that wants to tear him away from us. The saga of Elliot Anderson starts right now. Right, let's not waste a second. We start with the news that has every Forest fan biting their nails, checking their social media feeds every 5 minutes, praying it's just a bad dream. But it's real, and it's being reported by sources that just cannot be ignored. I'm talking about the future of Elliot Anderson. Anderson, say the name. He's the engine, the energy, the young lad who gets stuck in and reminds us what it means to wear this shirt. He's meant to be the core, the unbreakable heart of our midfield for the next decade, the kind of player you build a team around, the kind of talent you fight tooth and nail to keep. But the whispers are no longer whispers. They're becoming a chorus of anxiety. The rumor is chillingly specific. Newcastle United, his former club, is reportedly monitoring his situation very closely with a view to a potential re-signing in January. This isn't just vague transfer chat. This is a calculated observation of a club looking to exploit uncertainty. Why now? Why are they suddenly circling the city ground like vultures? Because they've seen the reports of concern over his situation here at Forest. They've seen the managerial upheaval, the difficult start, the pressure, and they smell an opportunity. Think about the impact. Tactically, Anderson is not just a player. He's our transition game. He's the link between defense and attack, the man who covers the ground, who breaks up play, who drives us forward with that crucial burst of pace. Lose him, and you don't just lose a body. You lose the entire rhythm of our midfield. Who steps up? Do we have a replacement ready to instantly fill those huge boots? We'd have to go back into the transfer market, spend money we might not have, and risk signing a dud. All because a rival exploited a moment of internal fragility, and this hits deeper than just tactics. This is about our narrative, If we, Nottingham Forest, a club fighting to re-establish its status, can't hold on to a young, homegrown star like this, what message does that send to every other young player we try to recruit? It screams, we are a stepping stone. It tells the rest of the league that the City Ground is just a place to develop before moving on to bigger things. That's a kick in the teeth to every single one of us who buys a ticket every week. Now, the club must act. They have to publicly back the player, give him the confidence, the game time, the faith he deserves, and shut down this speculation immediately. Because a player whose situation is being monitored is a player whose head is being turned. And that, Tricky Trees, is the last thing we need right now. A transfer rumor about a potential outgoing is always tough, but one involving a player linked to our future is simply devastating. Let me ask you, what figure, what monetary amount would make the sale of Elliot Anderson even remotely acceptable to you? Is there any price the club could be offered that would justify this devastating tactical and emotional loss? Comment now and let the club know how you feel. Because if this rumor is bad enough, the next one is about a familiar face returning to raid us, and another huge rival joining the chase. If the threat from the north was anxiety-inducing, this next one is a calculated, strategic betrayal. This is about a man who knows our system, knows our personnel, and is now reportedly planning a surgical strike on the city ground, the kind of move that is designed to hurt. We are, of course, talking about Nuno Espirito Santo, and his reported immediate interest in signing an unbelievable Forest star to be his very first high-profile signing at West Ham United. You can almost picture the scene, can't you? Nuno sitting in his new office, looking at his options. And who does he immediately think of? Our best players, the ones who performed under him, the ones who truly make this team tick. It's a ruthless piece of business, a clear attempt to exploit the manager's knowledge of the city ground dressing room. The report describes this player as unbelievable, and that tag alone tells you the gravity of the potential loss. This is not a squad player, this is a difference maker. For West Ham, this move is perfect. They get a proven Premier League talent, a player Nuno trusts implicitly, and they weaken a rival in the process. For Forest, it's a catastrophe of perception. It reinforces the idea that our club is in turmoil, that we are an easy target, and that our best performers will always follow a more established manager, regardless of the love they receive here. But wait, the situation has escalated. The transfer chaos surrounding this unbelievable star has just intensified. It's no longer just a tug-of-war with West Ham. Reports confirm that Leeds United is also now monitoring the exact same situation. Leeds United. They might be a championship club right now, but they are a massive name, a huge rival, a club that has shown it has the muscle and the ambition to bounce straight back up. If they get involved, it becomes a three-way bidding war for our player. This isn't just about money, though. If we are seen to be losing a top player to a recently relegated club, regardless of their size, it's a massive indictment of the state of the footballing project at the city ground. It shows the market thinks we're dropping and they're rising. Who is this player, you ask? While the reports are vague on the name to increase the competitive advantage, the tactical impact is clear. This is a player who provides the spark, the creativity, the unexpected magic. Without him, our attack becomes predictable, flat, and easy to defend against. The club must now decide, do they fight a two-front war against rivals with deep pockets and managers with close ties, or do they cash in and try to rebuild? Cashing in is easy. Fighting is what we, as Forest, are supposed to do. We are the Tricky Trees. We don't surrender our ground easily. How do you stop this? You give the player a new contract, you show him love, you provide the stability he needs, and you make it absolutely impossible for Nuno or Leeds to even whisper in his ear. We need a clear signal of intent, a declaration of stability. Do you think Nuno Espirito Santo should be seen as a traitor for trying to poach our star? Or is it just ruthless professional business? I want your honest thoughts. Tell me below. Because if Nuno is causing chaos on the pitch, the next piece of news is about a legend causing absolute chaos off it. The pressure gauge at the city ground is currently pinned at maximum. Every match, every press conference, every result. It's all a test. And when a club is in this kind of turmoil, the pundits, the media big hitters, they start to circle. But when Roy Keane speaks, the football world doesn't just listen, it holds its breath. And the legendary former player, the man known for his brutal, absolute honesty, has dropped an immediate bomb right into the heart of the Forest crisis. Keane has publicly stated that he already knows the answer to the huge question. Should Ange Postecoglou be sacked? Think about the context here. Keane isn't just a TV talking head. He's a proven winner, a former captain, a man who understands the ruthless nature of the game and the psychology of a dressing room under stress. For him to make such a definitive, blunt statement, to say he already knows the decision, adds a massive, terrifying weight to the managerial conversation. It's not a guess, it's a verdict. What does his statement, regardless of his actual opinion, do to the manager? It undermines any public confidence the board has tried to foster. It gives every dissenting voice among the fans, every critical journalist, a massive stick to beat the manager with. It's a psychological warfare waged in the media, and Keane, intentionally or not, just fired a massive shot. Every player in that dressing room, every member of the coaching staff has seen that headline. They are reading the subtext. The world's most critical pundit thinks the decision is already obvious. The truth is, Postecoglou's start has been disastrous in terms of results. We all know that. His record of winless games is a painful reality. But what about the football? What about the process? Some fans see glimpses of the attacking style he promised, moments of genuine creativity, a clear direction of play. Others see a defensive shambles, a team that concedes soft goals, and a manager who seems unable to plug the holes immediately. Keane's intervention forces the board's hand. It demands a response. In an environment already thick with fan discontent, and we've all heard those chants, this external pressure from a figure of such standing makes the situation simply untenable. For the current regime, if results don't change, it transforms the crisis from a simple win-loss problem into a referendum on the entire football philosophy. The crucial detail here is the timing. This statement lands just before a huge match. It is designed to provoke, to demand a reaction, to place maximum focus on the next result. It's high-stakes drama, and Roy Keane has just turned the City Ground into a massive, global stage. If you were a player who had already had 2 managers this season, how would you react to a statement like Keane's? Would it make you fight harder for the boss, or would it make you believe his time is truly up? Get vocal, Tricky Trees. The clock is ticking, and the drama only gets thicker as we enter the rumor mill's final desperate attempt to steal another star. You thought the first transfer crisis was over? You thought the threat of losing Anderson or the battle against Nuno was the peak of the drama? You were wrong. This entire situation is a vortex of transfer chaos. And now we have to face the cold, hard reality that 2 massive clubs, 2 of our biggest rivals, one in the Premier League, one a giant in the Championship, are now in a direct, escalating battle for our unbelievable star. Let's zero in on the tactical fallout of this renewed, heightened interest. The fact that Leeds United is still monitoring the situation, even with West Ham actively involved, shows 2 things. First, they believe they can out-negotiate us, and second, they believe they can offer the player a better long-term project than the one currently on display at the City Ground. That's a stinging psychological blow. This isn't just about the transfer fee, it's about the player's position. This star, this unbelievable talent, is the emotional outlet of the team. He's the one who runs until he drops, the one who carries the fight on his shoulders. If he goes, the mood in the dressing room collapses. It sends a signal to every other player that the club isn't strong enough, isn't stable enough to hold onto its true quality. We risk a domino effect of discontent and a massive hit to the morale that is already fragile. The club must now consider the financial reality of this bidding war. If 2 big clubs want the same player, the price skyrockets. Could Forest take the money, a huge inflated fee, and use it to strengthen multiple areas, particularly the leaky defense we've seen in the last few games? It's the devil's bargain, isn't it? Sacrifice 1 star for the collective improvement of the squad. But how do you replace that specific kind of magic, that sheer energy, with money alone? You can't. This entire situation is Postecoglou's biggest test, even if he's not selling the player. He needs to go to the board, declare this player non-transferable, and state in no uncertain terms that losing him would be the death knell for the season. The manager has to fight this on behalf of the fans, on behalf of the City Ground legacy, and on behalf of the project he is trying to build. If the club sells in this environment, it suggests the financial pressure outweighs the sporting ambition. And that, Tricky Trees, is a road we simply cannot go down again. We have to be a buying club, a club that retains its quality, not a farm for richer, more stable rivals. It's the ultimate emotional clash, sporting ambition versus financial reality. We are at the peak of the emotional turmoil right now. We've seen the player we want to keep, the familiar enemy trying to poach him, the pundit who says the manager is doomed, and now 2 major rivals fighting over the same star. Here's the moment of truth. If you were in charge of Forest, would you sell this unbelievable star for a massive inflated fee right now to fund 4 new players? Or would you risk the money and keep him at all costs? This is the climax of the drama. Make your voice heard. Because after all this chaos, the final piece of news is the club's definitive decision on the boss. Right. The smoke is cleared. The pundits have given their verdicts. The fans have chanted their frustration. The rivals have tried to poach our best. And now, the most anticipated decision of the international break has reportedly been made. It's the news that will either calm the storm or ignite a full-scale fire. The reports are clear. Nottingham Forest's hierarchy has reportedly made the crucial decision to stick with Ange Postecoglou for the immediate future. Let that sink in for a moment. Despite the disastrous winless run, despite the chance, despite Roy Keane's damning verdict, despite the growing sense of panic among the fan base, The board has reportedly chosen stability over upheaval. This is a massive show of faith, or perhaps a terrifying postponement of the inevitable. Why this decision? It suggests the club believes the core issues are not the man, but the process of integration. Remember, this is a squad that has seen huge turnover. It's not a simple fix. The board is giving him the ultimate grace period, the international break and the run-up to the colossal match against Chelsea. It's a vote of confidence that comes with a very clear, unspoken expiration date. They are saying, we believe in the project, but the results must follow. The impact of this decision is immediate and profound. For the manager, it's a lifeline, a chance to work on the catastrophic defensive errors without the immediate threat of the axe. It validates his belief in his system. For the players, the uncertainty is, for now, gone. They have their marching orders. They know who the boss is, and they have to fall in line and deliver for him. There are no excuses left. For the fans, this decision is hugely divisive. Half of the city ground will see it as weak, proof that the board is too slow to react. The other half will breathe a sigh of relief, trusting that true success requires patience, not panic. But here's the cold reality of the situation. This stability is paper thin. The next match against Chelsea is now not just a Premier League fixture, it is a trial by fire. If Forest performs poorly, if the results remain absent, this current decision will instantly be reversed. The pressure on the board will be unbearable, and the public faith they have placed in Postecoglou will look foolish. This is the last chance saloon. He has the 2 weeks to prepare, to train, to instill his philosophy. The club has given him the tools, now he must deliver the result. This is what it means to be Forest right now. A club of extreme highs and terrifying lows. A club where stability is a dream and chaos is the currency. We are not just fighting for 3 points. We are fighting for the identity, the project, and the sheer survival of our long-term ambition. This is what this week tells us about who we are. We are a club of passion, of ambition, and one that is currently wrestling with the brutal financial gravity of the modern game, forced to battle off vultures while facing a crisis of leadership. We must stand together. If you're still with us, you're a true tricky tree. Hit like, let us know your immediate reaction to the board's decision in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. I leave you with this double cliffhanger, this final thought. If Postecoglou fails against Chelsea, which former Everton boss, a genuine contender linked to the club, will Marinakis immediately call? And next week, we break down the explosive details of the Brazilian club that secured a $4. $2 million clause in a player Forest wants, a clause that makes the deal incredibly difficult. Don't you dare miss it.